So I've heard that the opposite of poverty is not wealth, but it's justice. I disagree. The opposite of poverty is wealth. I go back and I disagree. Justice is not enough. Right? So the opposite of poverty is wealth. It's very, very important to understand. The opposite of poverty is not justice. The opposite of poverty is wealth. Justice is something completely different. But that's what the opposite of poverty is. It's wealth. It's extreme wealth. So if you've been extremely poor and all of a sudden you become extremely wealthy, you break the chain and you become wealthy. It can happen. And it will. It'll happen to me. I mean, being a billionaire, or even a millionaire or billionaire is cool, but nowadays, you probably have to shoot to being a trillionaire to really smear it in, you know? Did you realize we bought an island? And no one's allowed on that island but us. Would that be something? We have our own security team and all kinds of stuff on our own island. We fly out there, we land, and we invite people if we want to. If not, we're the only ones on that island. Isn't that something? The reason why my father calls me a failure, and the reason why he stands behind them, religious reasons. I'll just go to heaven. You know, when I'd go to Thanksgiving, I was the one that would say the prayer. Well, Cole, it's time for you to say the prayer. Aren't I the actor? Wasn't I the actor? You know, it's like find something and make him a failure kind of thing. Find something for him to do so that he'll be a failure. I had no problem saying the prayer, but I didn't go to school for theology. I went to school and studied Tennessee Williams or Arthur Miller. Choosing the right guy to give the prayer? Why did he give the prayer? You know, and I'd give the prayer every time. Oh, it's time for the prayer. He's a born-again Christian. That's the reason why. That's the reason why. He's a born-again Christian. It'll be a religious reason that comes out of his mouth. If you say anything about abuse, or do you want your son to be a billionaire, or do you want your son to be a trillionaire? Do you want your son to be very, very rich? Do you want that? He'll just talk religion. He'll just talk religion. His way out of everything. If he's taking a big old bite of, or a foot-long sandwich and just eating it out, it'd be about religion. When he smoked cigarettes and he did it, you know, he had his problem, it was about religion. It was because of religion probably somewhere in there. And we know that people they're smoking cigarettes and stuff, they must have a problem with religion. You know, I'm not saying that's what he does, but he once did. He had a problem. A lot of people out there do have a problem, and they just bring up some type of religion. It may not be Christianity, but it'll be some type of religion that will be behind backing them and doing what they're doing, you know? And since, you know, back in the day on my second marriage, since I gave the church well over $10,000 or more, I think it could have even been $20,000, but regardless, why don't they advertise it? I mean, there's 700 people that go to that church. I don't see them helping at all when I helped. And this is just them pressing a button to subscribe. That's why it's the Please Subscribe Show. That's why it's called the Please Subscribe Show. There must be hatred in their heart if they don't want to be charitable and simply just press a button and share. Because they can get on YouTube and get an account. They get online stuff. And they can press a button. It's not going to hurt them to do that. They could do that with 4 or 5 friends, or even more, or 400 or 500 friends, anytime. Why wouldn't they help? There was over 700 church members of the church that I went to. Why wouldn't they help? You know, they don't have to, but why wouldn't they? It's not that big of a deal. All we do is drop food at the doorstep. I'm trying to help Linda become sober and quit smoking. I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to do what God is, you know, telling me to do to help her. So why wouldn't they not help? Are they not a real church? If they're a real church, then they'd help. And plus, it splits up into 2 churches. There's a church out in Prince Avenue Baptist in Bogart, Georgia. They probably have 1,000 subscribers, or 1,000 people that could subscribe, or even more. And then they know 1,000 people, and they know 1,000 people. I mean, we're a real group of people that have an evangelical message just as much as they do. We just do it a different way because we're just showing our lives and doing it. We have to so go around and memorize scripture. Well, you know, I mean, isn't that what Jesus was kind of upset about? The Pharisees and Sadducees being too dogmatic and legalistic? I would think they were. Press Cafe is where we're going. Oh, it's over here. So why would they want to help? You know? You know, the little thing that they really helped with Angel and I was with just materialistic things for the kids and stuff, but why would they help with something that would be long-term helpful? They have plenty. It could happen next couple of days. These subscribers that I have, these are people that I have found, most likely. And they have plenty, but, you know, they can't have the things that they have unless they do it in a selfish way. And I would have been angry with them unless I knew from the bottom of my heart that those church people were being selfish. If I thought that they were not being selfish, I would not have gotten angry. And that's probably God justifying that anger. So why would they want to be that way? Why would they want to lie behind the good book? Why would they be charitable and help? And we would all be there like that. But listen, all it takes is a press of a button. It doesn't take money. It doesn't cost them anything to subscribe. It's just a press of a button. They do it anyway with their friends on certain things. This is just a press of a button. That's all it is. They just subscribe. I think they can subscribe under as a guest. Or they can watch it under a guest if they think it's like really evil. But listen, there's a lot of evangelical stuff on YouTube. There's a lot of people on YouTube that are praising the Lord every day. All they gotta do is hit a button. Am I a person? Do I not deserve what they have? Okay, so I am a person and I do deserve what they have. I'm gonna get a really good shot over here of the field. I am a person and I do deserve what they have. So there'll be a time when they'll be hitting the subscribe button. Sorry, I have 3 children. You know, thanks for the help. Thing I have to say about the church. You don't think they watch Apple TV or they go to the premiere of Star Wars shows? I've seen photos of them at premieres of Star Wars shows and watching Apple TV. Do you think that they don't subscribe to that kind of stuff? Do you really think they don't? They do. And then in a sermon, would they say that my show's worse than that? Because I'm trying to help someone get sober off of alcohol? I'm doing the Lord's work. And this is His Majesty. What, is this shot not good enough for him? Is this shot not good enough for them to subscribe? Is this supposedly like an evil shot or something? Is this some kind of evil in the world? You know, they better not even have televisions because they subscribe to something if they have a television. There's no excuse for them not to subscribe. I don't see any of their names on there either. And I know they go by their names. Because to them, the name is all you have. Yeah, I'm not knocking at their door asking for money. I'm just asking them to press a button to help someone out. This is Press Cafe right here. I mean, you know, even if I was a fallen one, even if I was like a horrible sinner, which at times in my life I probably have been, so have they. Because it says so in the Bible that we've all fallen short of the glory of the Lord. So their excuse of saying, well, he's a sinner, doesn't work. I don't have like an AC/DC rock band, you know. We just have a band where we occasionally write songs about food. Yeah, I have to admit, you know, short of the drag queen, and we thought it was kind of funny, but But that's what happens. They go to sandwich shops and a drag queen makes them a sandwich, and that's, you know, God puts us all together for a certain reason. You know, they're still people, you know. So they can point fingers and say, specifically this and this and this, and that's probably what they do before they want to hit the subscribe button. But what's funny about all of this is they will subscribe. Once it gets to like 50,000 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers, like, let's see what this Cole guy is talking about. And by then, I'll have wonderful spirits. We'll probably be at Disney World, you know, something like that. You know, it'll probably be like really cheerful. You know, there'll be a segment where we'll hang out with Adam the Woo. I know he's involved with the whole YouTube thing, and his dad was a minister and all this stuff. And, you know, they'll be like, okay, well, you know, this looks friendly enough, you know, he's just talking about Walt Disney World. There's nothing wrong with Walt Disney World. I'll subscribe, you know? And that's the sad thing is. But this is how it is when you're struggling, you know? It is a nice field, though. This is definitely a nice field. I'll have to put that in there, right by the Press Cafe, which is right over here. You can get a bike right here. Next to that, you can get a sandwich or a meal at the Press Cafe, a really nice steak. And then that's the moon right there. Right above it. Oh yeah, you know, if you keep walking down this way, right over here, you'll run into the lake. I'm sorry, the Trinity River. Lately, because I've been taking Tylenol and aspirin, switching between Tylenol and aspirin. Been kind of, I don't know. I guess you say the word misspeaking, but that's not that big of a deal. There's a rabbit right over that way. I'm walking up on him right now. There he goes. Yeah, he's slowly kind of making way by the wood over here. Gonna try to take shelter in the wood right here. Yeah, he went under there. He's a little bit scared. Let's just see what up there. Beer, wine, spirits, trailhead, and steak. You can get steak there too. Short loin steak. Meat platters, sandwiches, tacos, breakfast tacos, deluxe plate, brisket sandwich. I guess this is kind of the place to be, you know. There's a bunch of people out there eating. He said about 15 minutes. There's the moon right here. And then there's right here is downtown Fort Worth. This is known as the Trinity River. That's the name of it, the Trinity River. Yeah, I just never really understood it. It's not like I have like a Kiss band and I'm hanging out with Gene Simmons. But you know, and even if I was hanging out with Gene Simmons, he's still a pretty cool guy. He's not that bad. I saw him perform the other day on this talk show. They still pretty disciplined band, you know. They worked super hard to get everything that they have. And that's a Christian concept, you know, regardless of whatever religion they, you know, are. I don't judge them. These are a bunch of joggers. I used to be a big jogger myself. It's a hard life. Honestly, because you have to keep at it, keep doing it. They have to watch what they eat. They can get through their little 6-mile routine. Usually about 6 miles is good enough for a jogger. If you ask any of them, they'd pretty much agree after the 6-mile mark. It's a good thing, jogging. It's going to take quite a bit of triumph for me. I'm being patient and waiting before I get back on the track and I start jogging again. Be nice because hopefully by then I'll have like a GoPro and I'll be able to take you on a few of my jogs. But the story that I'm writing now, the character goes on a few jogs in Maine. But I pretty much jogged almost every day while I was there. But I've like been a jogger for a very long time. But I'm mostly working on the show, and and I'm willing to wait and be patient, because I know it costs to jog. You know, it costs to be fit. It can cost you quite a bit. It's not like a free life or anything. It's not like it comes overnight. It can take 6 months to a year to really get fit, and then it's tough to be that way, and it does cost money. It's not free at all. And mostly I'm doing this to stay away from my bitterness, because I knew eventually if I put a camera on my own bitterness, it would turn into something positive eventually, because I'd be able to see it, be able to turn things around for myself, be like, okay, I'm gonna take this by the reins, and I'm gonna do the best I can with it, you know, because I've had setbacks before. Like my first one when I was 15, I broke my ankle, and I had to recover from that and learn to walk again. And then by the time I was 16, I was back to skateboarding. So I broke my ankle skateboarding. So it took me a while, probably like after high school, and then going into college, where I eventually kind of started jogging a little bit my freshman year. And then by the time I left Texas Wesleyan, went to UNT, I was jogging like all the time. I think it was the first year I was there. Some kind of thing out there. It's like a duck. I don't have like a telescopic lens. I think it was like the first year, my freshman year, I was a little heavy set, a little depressed, and a movie came out called Prefontaine. There's 2 of them, and I got some jogging shoes, and I started jogging. And I think that first year, I probably lost maybe, I was probably maybe like 212, so I lost maybe a good 20 pounds. Got, you know, close to like the 180-ish, 185. And then I think the second year was another like 20 pounds. People were noticing it, saying, Cole, you're kind of wasting away. I was like at 160 by then. Next thing you know, I got as low as like 157, even 150. And I was getting really skinny for a 6 foot. I'm 6 foot. 150 is pretty skinny. I remember when I arrived in Maine, though, later on, I was about that same weight. There was a road in Maine called 150, another road called 151. Just weird. It's a weird kind of thing. Is it because of my weight? Because it was harder to jog there in all the snow. And I think I kept that weight off for quite a bit of time. I think one time, the longest I had ever kept it off was 6 years straight. I kept the weight off of me for about 6 years. Stayed at about a 150, 160 for about 6 years or so. But it is a representation, you know. It is a representation of something, you know. When you see someone that's fit, and then you see someone that's heavy set, it represents something. The heavy set person represents something, and the fit person represents it. I don't think their spirits are in trouble, but they represent something, you know. Mostly walk now, but even slow jogs and stuff like that are good to get back to. And I don't know, I'll have to see how things go. I don't think, you know, like right now I need to focus more on the show and not on simply just exercise only. But we'll see, you know, it's not over yet. I have a feeling, unfortunately, that the people that are going to help are waiting for me to gain a certain amount. And I understand. I understand the pain and struggle of losing weight and being truly hungry. And, you know, you practically have to starve yourself at this age to get it all off, you know. I know that pain. I'm very familiar with it. But you have to have a safe ground to do that. because they'll kill you before they let you do that. You see, when you get to that stage, you procreate very, very easily, and they'd rather kill you. It's just the way nature is. But I have to say that money protects you from the spears and thorns that they set up, that they manufacture themselves and send out there in a legalistic way. Because I sincerely don't feel the church wants me alive. I don't think they wanted Martin Luther alive. I don't think they do. They haven't even mentioned my name. They don't even, to them, I don't even exist. And there's no, after all the money I gave them and all the time I spent at that particular church, MBBC, they don't, to them, I don't even exist. You know, they have their reasoning, and it's a religious reason too. They're not real people in my book, to be honest. They are real people, okay, I put it down, they are real people, but they don't really act like the real people that I know. I have to say that. And they, you know, they have to take that kind of fall, because those people may hear about the Lord. People that they don't know. They just send you off like you're just a piece of meat with a leather-bound Bible. You know, do your job. You know, it's not supposed to be that way. It really isn't. It's supposed to be about friendship the entire time.